to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night's horror night. Slogan's so good, we got it on a t-shirt. Tonight, the gentleman here kind of looks like the king without the beard. Has the same hair as me and King. Doesn't quite fit in with the beard though. It's not as long. Tonight we are joined by writer, director, producer, and the owner of one of the most important things in indie horror, in terms of the Indie Horror Junkie company, which is now running a film fest as well in Florida in next week by the time of this release. Is it 7th, the 8th, and the 9th
Yep.
of February in MegaCon in Orlando? Lucky bastards. But this is Mr. Rick Danford. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to come on. I know it's
My pleasure.
mid-evening for you now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I appreciate you coming on. As it says, it's such an important piece of indie horror that you run. Obviously, social media now, the film fest, the magazines. So fair play to you on getting that going.
Thank you. We're
Um,
really happy.
I do. I quite like it now. Obviously, I said over here we don't get a whole lot of anything in terms of indie horror.
Mm.
I was surprised we got Terrifier 2 when we did. So
Wow.
that tells you everything.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started with obviously writing, directing, producing, and then when Indie Horror Junkie came about?
Absolutely. I've pretty much loved movies all my life. Some of my earliest memories were my parents taking me to the movies or seeing movies at the house and things like that. So I've always loved it. From when I was a very small boy, I wanted to be an actor. Then it turned out I wanted to be a stuntman. And then I found creative writing. I started writing stories in school, for book reports and for various other things. And then I wrote my first screenplay back in 1999 or 2000, something like that. And we actually turned that into a feature film called The Web of Darkness, which was a vampire film. And
Nice.
we got the great Tom Savini to star in that thing with
What a
us.
man.
Yeah, the old man is right because we never should have made that movie. We had no idea how to make movies. We were convinced by another company that they would take care of all the filming and we could just work with the actors. And needless to say, it didn't turn out that way. So pretty much anything that could go wrong on a movie set went wrong twice for us. But we got it done. And at the end of the day, I look at it like film school in a bottle because I learned so much and I was a completely different person after that movie. And then we started making more and more movies, mainly short films, until we started The Clock. The Clock was a feature film that we did here, and that just came out on distribution in October and is being distributed through various sources now. And it just came out, just had a Blu-ray release that's going to be official on February 18th. And just prior to that, I started Indie Horror Junkie, and that's an interesting tale because I started that as like an online newsletter because I just love writing. Being a film festival host that I've had before, that I was before, I get to meet so many independent filmmakers. I get sent so many movies. I've worked with so many local actors and actresses and chatted about their movies. So I decided to just put out this little newsletter that I've been putting out, kind of promoting everybody else's movies. And I called it Indie Horror Junkie. And then it turned into like a magazine format that I was still releasing digitally until we met a friend of ours, Antonio Hernandez, who has his own printer, prints his own magazine, and he started printing it for us. So we started out, like I said, as an online newsletter, and we're going to be celebrating our second year anniversary in March of this year. And from that first year to the second year, we've turned into a print magazine. We have an annual film festival that we hold at MegaCon. We have a weekly podcast that's every Wednesday. As a matter of fact, this Wednesday is our 70th episode. And we also started creating our own original films with The Clock, and now we've got a couple more that are lined up for 2025. So in less than 2 years, we've grown up pretty fast.
Exploded. Take,
Yes, exploded.
taking the market by storm.
Yes, and that's the thing is we're independent filmmakers ourselves, so and we understand that the independent scene does not get the run that all those studio films get. I mean, there's Fangoria magazine, Rue Morgue, Scream, all those great magazines that I'm a huge fan of, but they pretty much just cover studio films. There was never anything that promoted the indie scene. the scene that we're involved in. So that's why we created Indie Horror Junkie, was to try and give everybody their 15 minutes and help them get promotions and help them get seen, and people to learn about their projects, and hopefully get more stuff done for them, because I mean that's what we love. They're one of us, so they're family.
Absolutely, and I found that obviously when we started the show, well, when the lads started the show before I came in, even when I came in, we'd never really planned on or talked about having guests,
Mm-hmm.
and a guest kind of just fell into our lap, and then from then on, I think we've had more guest episodes now than episodes where we do reviews and stuff. So we've been quite lucky, but I think I've gone through the whole of the indie market. Well, certainly the Eastern Time Zone market of like Ohio and places like that, and
Right.
North Carolina and stuff. There's just a whole group of people there that have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the indie scene, like as I said to you, we don't get nothing over here really. I know I've been quite lucky that directors will send me stuff, and I get to watch it, and then I'll have a chat with them about it. So I'm quite lucky in that way. But like I know a lot of film or horror film fans over here that get nothing. Oh no, sorry, we have Shudder over here, which does quite a bit of indie horror now,
Yeah.
um, which is good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of anyway, if you're not paying for Shudder, you don't get them.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Indie horror, I think, has been living its high life over the last few years. Obviously with the help of what Terrifier done for indie horror.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like everyone goes on and it's like, oh, it's not an indie horror anymore. No, it certainly still is because it's not run by a big company. Sorry,
Right.
Fuzz on the Lens are a big enough company, but they're not a Hollywood company
Right.
that are gonna dictate what you can and can't do.
Yep.
So I think the indie world is definitely thriving, and the creativity and the effort that goes into it is just off the charts. So when you
Mm-hmm.
create something like this that puts the word out to people about, oh, this movie or that movie, where they might never have heard of it or they might never see it, becomes invaluable to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that's one of my dreams, is to one day see that we create an issue that talks about some independent filmmaker and gives him his run out there, so people can see and learn about his projects. And then one day he ends up making a studio film, and he's in the Fangoria magazine or whatever, and we can say, hey, he started over here. You know what I'm saying? We helped build him up. And I look at it as kind of like a minor league system to Fangoria and things like that, trying to help people get the attention that I believe they truly deserve.
A feeder system.
Exactly, exactly. We're not trying to compete with them. They're doing a great job. There's nothing to do there, but we're trying to show, give all what I call the blue collar filmmakers, the guys that are working 9 to 5 jobs and making movies on the weekends with their
Yeah,
own paycheck and stuff. Those are the guys we're trying to give some attention to, because they deserve it. There's some great stuff out there.
yeah. And I mean, there is some really good ones. Like I don't know whether you've seen it or not, but so I watched, as I said to you, I watched a hell of a lot of them last year.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite one last year was, it actually just fell outside my top 10 of all 2024 movies.
Mm.
Was a movie by Sean Robinson called Life of Bell.
Hmm. I've heard of the filmmaker. I'm not sure if I've heard of the film though.
Oh man, it was so good. It was
Really
made off a minuscule budget, and I mean to
interesting.
say, like it finished, I think 11th or 12th overall of all my movies last year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like everyone keeps saying to me like, what was so special about it? And I was like, just watch it.
You'll have to send me that link.
I don't want to tell anybody what it is or what it's not, but just sit and watch it. It's an hour and 6 minutes long. That's all it is. Like it's an episode of something that you're watching. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was phenomenal. Like that might be one to make your newsletter.
Absolutely. Yeah. You send me some information. I mean, anything you can feed to us that we can try and get him some promo for sure.
I'll send you on his details anyway.
Okay. Sounds great.
Um, but yeah, so the film fest obviously this year, was it 25 films you said?
25 films that are going to be in our competition that are up for Best of the Fest. So
Yeah.
25 films. And then we have the 4 special fan screenings.
So the fan screenings are what?
The Fetus, that's the
Yeah,
first one.
yeah,
Then
tell
Mutilator
us.
2.
Shout out to Joe Lamb over there
Joe
for the
Lamb.
fetus. Good lad.
Absolutely. And Joe
Uh,
Lamb will be at the festival as well. And
Joe's a nice fella.
oh yeah, he's very nice. We had him on the podcast a week or two ago.
Oh,
And then
did you?
we've got
I didn't
Mutilator
see that.
too. Hmm?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
I'll have to
So
go back and check that one out.
yeah, and then we've got Mutilator 2, which I was telling you before is the sequel to the 1984 classic slasher, The Mutilator. Then we've got on Saturday, which will have The Inn, which is a, a slasher movie that was locally produced. It's actually going to have its world premiere there. And then Saturday evening is the main event, which is Screamboat, and that's from the producers of Terrifier and The Mean One.
Nice, nice. So that's
Mm-hmm.
That's Stephen Lamort, another former guest.
Yep.
Absolute top fella. We had him on for the mean one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had him on for the main one. Um, Jeez, it must have been a year and a half ago now.
Oh wow.
Um, we also had Crystal Elmore, who was the main actress in it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I really enjoyed that for what it was. That was fun. I don't know what
I heard it. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to. But the
Da-
producers,
David was.
Steve. Hmm?
David was ridiculously good in it.
Oh, that's right. He plays the Mean One.
Yeah,
Yep.
ridiculously good for someone again that doesn't really speak.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Um, yeah, that one is getting a lot of attention. Obviously, it's fallen into that realm that Winnie the Pooh did when it came out, when Blood and Honey came out.
Right.
Um, and then obviously, um, people from there have gone on and made Winnie the Pooh 2. I think Cinderella's Curse is out. There's a Bambi one coming out. There's a Hook one coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of market all of a sudden became available and has been absolutely saturated. But I think to touch Mickey Mouse as a horror character, people are like, oh dear.
Yeah, the Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I mean that story alone has the potential to be a good horror film.
I think you're right. I when I went back and thought about it, somebody else had mentioned that. I went back and thought about it and says, yeah, I could see that being adapted as a horror movie. So I'm excited to see it.
The Simpsons done it in one episode with Itchy and Scratchy. Do you remember?
Did they really? I did not see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they have well, it's like an episode of Itchy and Scratchy inside the Simpsons where it's basically like Steamboat Willie.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I think the only thing I've watched of the Simpsons in quite a few years has always been their Halloween special, the Tree House of Horrors. I
I
always
love
try to
them.
catch that.
Yeah. So I haven't heard anything about the inn, so I can't go too much into that
Mhm.
one. But you mentioned the other one in the Mutilator 2.
Oh, Mutilator 2, yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
That's a sequel from the 1984 The Mutilator, and the writer director of both films, a couple of the producers, the main actors for the first one, and they play cameos in the second one. They're all going to be at the festival, introducing their film. They're going to have a table set up, giving away merch and stuff, so they'll be there as well. And what I was saying for Screamboat, Steve Lamort, like you said, you had Amy Schumacher. Those are the producers of Screamboat and the main one also. They're all going to be at the festival as well as with Michael Levy, who's one of the producers of that, as well as Stream and Terrifier series. They'll all be there at the festival.
yeah, Michael done a great job with Stream.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, the Mutilator 2, I've had I think almost everybody on the show from that.
Oh really? That's
Yeah,
cool.
I think almost everybody. I had Buddy on.
Yep.
Um, Jeez, I think there's 11 people from the from that film that have been on the show. Mutilator 1 is one of my favorite films. I actually have a Mutilator tattoo.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah.
Nice. Believe it or not,
Um,
I have not seen it, but after I had them
ah,
on our podcast, I ordered the Arrow Blu-ray, and it just
nice.
came in last week, so I'm going to watch it before the fest for sure.
Oh, it's so good. Mutilator 2
Yeah,
is
because I
good
want
as
to
well.
bring that with me so that way they can all autograph it for me.
Nice, nice. Yeah. The second film is good. I really enjoyed the second film.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that either. They just sent that to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and watch that before the event too. If not, I usually sit in the room anyway and watch all the big movies anyway. So I'll be seeing it one way or the other.
Nice, nice. You know, it's very enjoyable. The whole thing is just, I was just like, yeah, I was so happy.
Very cool. They're all good people. Had them on our
Yeah.
podcast a couple weeks ago, and they're just so nice and easy to talk to. I can't wait to sit down with them for that weekend.
Who did you have on?
We had Buddy, we had
Yeah.
Carl Grasso, we
Carl,
had
superstar Carl Grasso is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, Ruthie Martinez,
Yeah.
and I think oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember the other one, but I know Ruthie, Carl, Buddy, and then there was a third one that we had also.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go back and check that one out as well. I didn't see them. Things just kind of go by me, and I'm like, oh yeah, look, I must watch that, and then I go away and I'm like, oh look, something shiny, and then I'm gone. Yeah, no, like as I said, I that's the first movie franchise. Well, no, I wouldn't say franchise. That the first movie where I batched off a load of guests one after another, and I keep in contact with quite a lot of them. Like I do
Mhm.
talk to Carl at least once every fortnight or so.
I've been chatting with him a lot lately.
I'll get a message off him or he'll get a message from me. But that whole cast and crew are great. You'll have a great time with them.
Good. Yeah, look
Yeah,
forward to it. They're going to set up a table there too, so they'll be with us all weekend.
nice, nice. Now, if I can get myself to Florida,
Come on, brother. I'll get you a pass.
yeah, can you get me a plane ticket too?
I don't know about that part.
Nah, it's too soon now. Maybe 1 year. Maybe 1 year.
1 year.
Uh, um, but obviously that's going off on the 78th and the 9th of February
Correct.
in MegaCon in Orlando, which is a
Yep.
huge deal for indie horror.
It is. I mean, the MegaCon is an open convention where it's pretty much all genres and comics and anime and everything else, but they're trying to build up the horror environment there. So we started it off our first stake in the ground last year, and then this year it has just grown to immense proportions. So I think we're going to do some really good things with them, and they've got such a huge following. Like I was telling you off the line, they get about 250,000 people there that weekend. So it's like wall to wall bodies. So we're really good.
Uh,
We're looking for a good turnout.
That's a whole lot of cheddar.
Yes, it is.
No, but it's great. I see there one of the films in the competition is What's Wrong with Wendy?
What's wrong with Wendy?
Is it that's what I've seen? Is it Spencer Martinez's movie? Am I looking at that wrong?
That doesn't sound familiar.
Uh, oh, sorry, no, Rabbit Season.
Rabbit season, yes, yes,
Sorry,
rabbit
What's Wrong
season.
with Wendy is the new one I think she's doing.
Oh,
Um,
okay, cool. Yeah, rabbit season's one of them. It's a very enjoyable little film.
she is talented.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
I've had the chance to watch some of the bits that she's done, and I've seen her in a couple of other movies that she's been in. Um, yeah, Spencer's just ridiculously talented.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, rabbit season's one of our finalists for one of the awards. I can't tell you who won because I don't even know who won yet. The judges picked it, but it was elected as one of the finalists, so it'll be right
Nice,
in there. Hmm.
nice. Uh, well, fair play to everyone for getting involved in that one. You know what I mean?
Yep,
As I said, it's great for indie horror to hear that you're doing those kind of things. So,
that's what we're
uh,
all about.
I mean, like, let's be honest, the Oscars give people awards at a very minuscule level.
Yeah,
Like, not like I don't care. You could be an extremely talented actor. It doesn't mean you'll ever win an Oscar.
yeah,
And then you get some people that will win one that probably don't deserve one. You know,
yeah.
it just
A lot of
that happens.
politics. Right.
That happens from time to time. But like indie stars are never like even it doesn't even have to be horror, but like indie movies don't ever get recognized on the big
They don't.
screens.
No, and which is surprising to me because they're usually the more profitable movies because they're made with much lower budgets. You don't have to have the big name actors or actresses involved. Like just look at Terrifier. Terrifier had a budget of 2.5 million and it made 120 million at the box office.
Oh,
That's that's a
three, Terrifier
that's a
3.
ridiculous ROI. Yeah,
Yeah, it was the best profitable movie of the year.
easily,
Yeah.
easily.
What did they say was set? Was another big one that was second. It actually made more than Terrifier did, but because its budget was bigger in terms of gross margin, it wasn't as
Oh,
profitable.
yeah, I
Uh,
don't remember which one it was, but horror usually does well, and that's what I don't understand. But we're always treated like the redheaded stepchild,
Yeah,
and it doesn't
and
make
hey,
sense to me. Just a phrase of speech, but and it doesn't make sense to me because it's my favorite genre, and so many people love horror movies. I mean, horror movies are never out of season, so I just don't understand why it doesn't get more love.
people love to hate horror movies though.
They do, and I
And
can't understand that.
like I was reading an article there, or reading a thing the other day that 9 horror films have only ever been selected for Best Picture
Mm. I know The
in the
Exorcist was
Oscars.
one.
The which?
The Exorcist?
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs was the last winner. I think it might have been the
Oh,
only winner.
really?
Silence of
Hmm.
the Lambs, the only winner of Best Picture in the Oscars. I'm nearly sure as a horror movie.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
Well, is it though? Really, when you think about it, like Jaws should have won it.
Yeah, but is Jaws considered really a horror movie? I mean, I consider it a horror movie, but a lot of people don't consider it a horror movie.
If it's
I mean, it's
if
about
it's
a shark, and a shark is a realistic creature. I mean, it does some unrealistic things, but it's not like it's supernatural or anything like that. So a lot of people
I,
don't consider it a horror.
I don't know. I always put animal creature features in the subgenre of horror.
I would think so. But another horror movie to me that won Best Picture was Gone with the Wind. You ever hear of Gone with the Wind?
Yeah,
I
that's
consider
it.
that a horror movie because that woman was pure evil in that movie, man. It should be a horror movie.
I mean, like it depends on what you define as a horror movie, doesn't it? Like
It
Schindler's
really
List.
does.
Schindler's List could be considered a horror movie for what it was.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
do I consider
That
it a horror
movie got
movie?
me.
Probably not.
Probably not. No, I think horror movie has to really be defined by some kind of supernatural situation or some kind of evil or dread or something along those lines. Um, like Silence of the Lambs. I mean, Longlegs was another one that did really well. That was a very good
I thought it was
horror
terrible.
movie. You didn't
I
like
thought,
that movie?
oh man, it was so boring.
Oh, I
Um,
liked it. I get into stuff
she
like that.
she was phenomenal in it.
Who?
Mila yeah, the main actress.
The
I
main
can't pronounce
actress.
her
Yeah,
name.
she was. She was.
She was phenomenal.
You
Nicholas
didn't think
Cage was
Nicolas
good.
Cage? Okay, come on now.
He was good. He was good. But like the
Yes.
movie itself, I found just plodded along. I was like, oh. And in the ending, I was just like that. I was like, just fuck off. I'm done.
It did go a little slow. I could see what you're saying there. It did go a little slow, but I like the way it all tied together at the end and kind of
Oh,
made
yeah.
all made sense like that. To me, I liked it.
That was the worst of it for me. That at the ending, like if they had finished it in the
Hmm.
house before everything happened
Don't
with
give it away now.
yeah, I do I hate doing spoilers. Now we've already done an episode on Long Legs, so I'm not too bad with it. But like before the doll thing comes into it, like if they had
Oh,
ended it there, where she just walks
right.
in and the ma's there, I would have been like, okay, that's fine, okay. But like
I can see that.
I'm notorious in films where if I'm watching something I'm really into it, and there's a piece in a movie that happens, and it'll just throw me out of the movie, and I'm like, "Ah, I'm done, I'm out,
Yeah,
and
I've had that happen in a couple things.
I can't get back into it. Then like it's well documented on this show, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love it up until the dinner scene,
Mm,
and then I just can't be fucked with it. I'll turn it. I just much turn it off because when they bring the granddad down, who was pretty much a skeleton in the attic, and he comes back to life. I was
yeah.
like, I was like, why? It's supposed to be a semi-serious film.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And then Marlon Burns just screaming does my brain in. I can
It's a classic.
I can understand why, yeah, but I'm in the minority of people that think the '03 remake is better.
The '03 remake was very, very good. It gets a lot of love. So I can say I don't know if I consider better. And that's the thing is that when you have a movie that's considered such a classic like that, it doesn't matter what you do. It's always going to be considered the best, no matter what.
Yeah, I will say if you put Gunner's performance into the '03 one,
Hmm.
it stands head and shoulders above the original.
Hmm.
I think
Interesting take.
no, I know Andrew Barianovsky, whatever you say his name is. He's not
Hmm.
much bigger than Gunner was, but he's a lot stockier than he was, and he was just too big for the movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Like he gets his arm chopped off, and he's still running around swinging a chainsaw. Like and I'm like, oh, like things like that. I'm like, meh. But everything else about that '03 one was just amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Absolutely. But they've got some.
I had Jessica Biel in it. That was always something.
That was a plus.
God bless that time of the 2000s when all the girls were wearing them white tank tops. I
Absolutely.
wouldn't only seen that meme the other day. It's like everyone in 2000 horrors wearing the white tank tops. Elijah Duskue has it in Wrong Turn.
Wrong turn.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my favorite horror franchise.
Really? Because I
Yeah.
liked the first one, but after that, it just I don't understand. Now they've got
All
like
right.
Wrong Turn 27 or something like that.
No, we got the six with the Hillikers, and then we got the remake, the reboot.
Ah, the remake.
The foundation, the reboot with the foundation was good.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it.
I haven't
Like,
seen the reboot. Now,
pretty
what are
good.
your thoughts on that? Because that's something that's contentious when you talk to horror fans. What are your thoughts when it comes to remakes or reboots?
Um, so this comes up on the show. So the two lads, Carl and Ian, the other co-hosts,
Mm-hmm.
hate the idea of a remake. There's not many that they'll say are good, right? Which is fine, and movies are made that way that you get your own opinion.
Right.
I find the problem is, and Ted has said it, the other co-host has said it on times, making a remake of an already classic movie does not make sense. There are other movies, say in the '80s, like say like I'll always take Maniac Cop. I love Maniac Cop 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Could they do with a facelift and a remake? Probably, right? But
Mm-hmm.
instead, we got a 2010 horror attempt at Nightmare on Elm Street. We got an old '09 version of Friday the 13th that we didn't need. That I know a lot of people like. I didn't, right? We got an '04 version of Dawn of the Dead that refreshed it for everybody, which I prefer. I prefer the Zack Snyder one. Um,
I love the Zack Snyder one.
it's so good. It's so
Mm-hmm.
good, and that opening scene is just fucking off the charts.
Yeah, but then again, it's different because not only is it the time frame is different, but also remember in the original Dawn of the Dead, they were the slow walking zombies, whereas
Yeah,
in Zack Snyder, they were the running, which added a whole different,
that I
concept to
I
the whole thing.
I think like for me, if you're getting younger people now to watch the original one, it's not going to stick at 2.5 hours, and it's slow. It is slow, and I don't care
Yeah.
what anyone says of how good it is. It's still very fucking slow.
Hmm.
Where that '04 one just bang straight into it,
Yeah. But once
and
again, I think those old ones, that's just the way they made films back then. That's just the type of filmmaking. Now it's like everybody's got a short attention span. So you got
yep.
to keep them going. So that's why it's different.
I'm all for reboots to an extent. Like I will always give them a shot. A shot.
Hmm.
Do I think they'll work? 90% of the time they're shy, but
My opinion, my opinion is that I am all for remakes and reboots. I have no problem with it at all. The way I look at it is that if I've got a classic movie from back in the 80s and they make a reboot and the reboot is just complete crap, like Poltergeist. You didn't mention that one, but that remake of Poltergeist, I want
uh,
that 90 minutes back. That was painful.
and
Okay?
I like Timothy Olyphant as well.
Which one?
The remake, Timothy Olyphant's in the remake,
Oh
isn't he?
yeah, he was in the Crazies, the remake of the Crazies,
So
and that was a good one too.
I went to see that in the cinema when that came out in 2010, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember walking out of cinema hating it. Never watched it
Really?
again. Right? Never watched it again. Seen a clip on Facebook the other day. On Facebook videos
Mm-hmm.
where it was the start of it. Showing he walks into what way is the water flowing when they figure it out. I was like, okay. I says I'm gonna go and give this a rewatch. I think that's better than the original. Like
It could be.
the remake I have is better than the original. I have the remake of The Hills Have Eyes is definitely better than the original. The
I haven't
Alejandro
seen the
Aria one.
remake, but I was a big fan of the original.
You haven't seen the Alejandro Aria one?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Graham?
Yeah, we actually had Michael Bailey Smith on, who played Pluto in it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay,
he, he's so good.
he is. He's
Um,
very good.
and then you've got Hills of Eyes, and then There was obviously the big remakes are The Thing, The Fly, which were older remakes, and The Thing is the greatest remake in any genre ever,
I don't see how you can argue that.
ever.
I don't see
I
how you
don't
can argue. No.
like any horror fan that'll turn around and be like, "Oh, Titanic." No, fuck Titanic. 3 hours of dribble. Do you know what I mean? Like you could say Scarface. Scarface is a remake of a musical. The Departed. I still
Hmm.
think The Thing holds up as the greatest remake, and I've said it since I was like 14. This is the best remake ever made.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the way I look at it, like I said, if a remake is garbage, then it just enhances the way we look at the original.
Yep.
If it's good, it's not like I'm going to go to my DVD shelf and take the original one off and throw it in the garbage. No, it's still there. Like, and also some things that people don't really give credence to that I do. I look at this is not horror, but Road Warrior. Okay, I'm a
Mad
huge fan
Max.
of Mad Max and Road Warrior and stuff. I tried to get my kids to watch that. They didn't want to watch it. It was old. Oh, that's not their thing or whatever. But then Fury Road comes out with Tom Hardy, and they loved that so much that my daughter asked me, okay, let me go back and watch the other ones just to get a feel for that. They never would have watched the originals. Just like my son. My son was a big fan of the Will Smith Last Man on Earth, I Am Legend.
I Am Legend.
Okay.
Brilliant movie.
Yeah. He loved that movie, but he didn't want to go back and see the original, which was the Omega Man with Charlton Heston, or even before that, The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. After he watched I Am Legend
Two
with Will
quality
Smith,
movies.
he asked me to watch those. So I showed them to him. So the way I look at it is that these old movies got to watch from kids that never would have watched them except for the remake because they
Yeah.
enjoyed the remake so much.
So on the show in the back catalogue we went back as far as the 1920s and picked 5 movies from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, for people that are watching the show to go and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Went everywhere from like the Golem to Dr. Caligari and like all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
One of Ian's favorites in the I think it's the 50s. The Spiral Staircase.
Mm.
Oh, excuse me. So we went back through it, and like we made it all the way to the 2010s. Do you know what I mean? So like there are ways of doing it, but remakes will get people to go back and watch the original to compare it. Now,
I
I will
agree.
say the greatest remake actually ever must be The Wicker Man.
Hmm.
Said
I don't
no,
know.
said nobody ever.
Okay.
Uh, oh Jesus,
And they
this is
have Nosferatu that just came out.
now. Have you seen the new Nosferatu?
Yes.
Right. What do you make of it in terms of a remake?
I enjoyed it because I'm not a big fan of that director. What is it? Eggers, I think his name is.
Oh, I like Robert Eggers. He's a great period horror director.
Yeah, he's a great for that, for in creating dread and stuff. In that movie, he had dread all through it and stuff. And the fact that it was a period piece like that, I thought that he did amazing with the look and feel. I really enjoyed it. It had some things that had me scratching my head a little bit, but I still enjoyed it. But I also have the original Nosferatu that I've seen, the 1922 with Max Schreck and so on. I have that as well.
Unbelievable.
The one from Klaus Kinski, the remake, I've got that as well. So I've seen them all. But I enjoy it for what it was. I'm a big Skarsgård fan too, and I thought he's amazing.
His
What
voice
his
in that
he's
was
super
just off the
talented.
charts.
Yes.
Um, for me, I know the original one is sort of it was an illegal rip at the time of Bram Stoker's Dracula, right?
Right.
And it's been very well documented. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that new Nosferatu is just a remake of the 1990 Dracula with Gary Oldman. Just
Yeah, I did get
better,
that vibe.
just better, because Nicholas Hoult was better than Keanu Reeves was. Like let's be fair, that's probably Keanu Reeves, and he says it himself. It's probably his worst acting performance of his life.
I can't argue with that.
The only like I love the movie, the Dracula movie, but the only good thing about it is Gary Oldman.
Well, to me, Gary Oldman is my favorite actor of all time. I absolutely adore Gary Oldman. That's my bucket list. I would love to meet him.
One of the most underrated actors ever. Or sorry, not
And did
underrated,
you
underappreciated.
and did you hear the story about why he made Dracula?
Because his kids liked it, was it?
What was that?
Was it because his kids liked it?
No, 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 no. It was documented. There was an interview. He said when he read this script, there's one line in the script where he says, "I've traveled through oceans of time to
Oh
find
yeah,
you," or
sorry,
something
yeah,
like
yeah, I
that.
knew that. Yeah,
He said because of that line was the reason he wanted to make that movie because he wanted to say that line on screen.
yeah. It was
So
that because it's from the book, isn't it? It's directly from the book.
something like that. Yeah,
Mm,
that's pretty cool.
yeah, and then obviously you have the version that came out last year, the last voyage of the Demeter.
Yeah, that
I
that disappointed me because I mean I
I liked it,
enjoyed it, believe me, but it disappointed me because I thought it could have been so much better. That's such a great story, of what happened on that
but
that travel, and I don't think they did it quite as good as they could have.
I mean, they made a 2 hour movie out of was it 24 pages?
Yeah,
It's two
yeah.
chapters of the book. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe
It's
it was because the CGI vampire just didn't do it for me.
no.
Kind of like,
I think it's because everyone expected him to be humanoid. I thought they obviously it's CGI and
yeah,
it looked okay at best, maybe
yeah,
okay to good. But I think everyone was expecting the humanoid version, and when you
yeah.
got that, everyone was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Right, right.
But like, I love the fact that they brought the coffin. They did it properly with the ground
Hmm.
and stuff. I was like, yeah, no, that's awesome. But the new Nosferatu done a really good job.
Yeah,
Um,
but you're right. It pretty much is just like a remake of Dracula. But then again, that's kind of the whole story. I mean, but yeah, I totally agree with you. But once again, remakes and reboots and everything like that, I don't have a problem with. As a matter of fact, my movie The Clock isn't technically a remake or a reboot, but basically what it is that I used to be a fan when I was a kid of the old time radio shows. They used to have these old radio shows that really scary ones that I used to listen to late at night. There was one back in the 70s. I think the show was actually from the 60s, but I listened to it in the 70s and it was called Hickory Dickory Doom, and it was all about these people buying a grandfather clock and bringing it home, and the grandfather clock was more than what it appeared to be. And I had always loved that episode. And I kept thinking that, man, that would be a great movie. So when it came time for me to write a movie, that's basically what I did is I wrote a new version of that story. And on the Blu-ray itself, I actually have a little 45-minute uh what do you call it, extra bonus feature that I have on there where I introduce and tell people about that episode and how I use that as my uh, um, the basis for my movie The Clock. And I actually have the entire episode, the radio version, on the Blu-ray, so you could listen to the whole radio show.
nice,
There's so many great radio show stories that I think Hollywood should look into those to try and return to those some of those in the movies instead of reboots and remakes.
absolutely. And there are still a lot of original ideas out there,
Hmm.
just waiting to be untapped. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
one of the co-hosts, Ted, has obviously Nightmare on Elm Street wouldn't be a reboot, but if you wanted to carry on the story, and he maintains the way he has it in his brain would be to use Freddy in VR.
Hmm.
Joe, like remember like Ready Player One?
Ready Player One, yeah.
Yeah, so Freddy's technically in that.
Really?
There's a scene where he's cutting along, and you can see Freddy's shadow standing with the claw,
I'm gonna have to go. I love Easter eggs like that, so now I'm gonna have to go back and look for that.
and then obviously Chucky is in it, and Jason's in it as well. But yeah, my our friend Ted would say that that's the right way to do it.
You mean Chucky back there? That Chucky?
Yeah, but he's a little dickhead.
He is. He's got the Christmas hat on, though.
Chucky's one of the
Trying
most overrated franchises.
to-
Oh man, you
the
know what?
original I thought was really good.
I never ever got into it ever, right?
Really?
And
The
no,
original
never,
Child's Play?
no, never, not once. I've seen it.
Oh,
I've seen it a good few times, and I keep trying and kept trying when I was younger. I was like, nah, not for me. So
yeah.
I said the back end of last year, I had some time off from work, and I was like, kids were in school. I said, I'm gonna sit down and watch the first one and the second one. And I got past the end of the second one. I was like, yeah, I'm not going any further. I'm done. I am done. It's not for me. Same way I wasn't sold on Annabelle. I just think it's the doll thing that I have no real interest. Now, the one movie I remember watching that was about a killer doll was Dead Silence by James Wan.
Dead Silence.
Ah, so good. So good.
It really was. I just saw that the other day again.
Oh, I haven't seen it in a long time now. I might watch it soon.
Now, to me, that I call that. I've talked to my kids about this. I said I call that a gateway movie. And what I mean by a gateway movie is if you got somebody that wants to start watching horror or wants to see a
Yeah.
horror movie that's not used to any of that, that's perfect because there's no real bad language. There's not really much blood or anything like that. It's basically just scares and jump scares and stuff like that. So I think it's a good way to get them into it.
So my oldest fella, he has zero interest in watching horror movies, right? And my little one has now started coming out. So way we had our apartment at one stage set up was we had the sofa boxing off the living room and stuff, and she snuck out one night and snuck in, and we were watching Beetlejuice, right? And apparently she said she stood behind the sofa for ages or sat behind the sofa watching it,
Mhm.
and like she's obsessed with Wednesday. Now we haven't let her watch it because she's only 6, but she's obsessed with Wednesday. And my missus turned around to me one day and was like, "Yeah, she's gonna be exactly like you." And I was like, "Yeah, she loves Hocus Pocus. She liked Goosebumps."
Yeah, goosebumps.
And like I was like trying to think of ones that I could watch with her. Do you know what I mean? Like at 6 years old, I'm not gonna go and put on The Exorcist.
Come on. Where's your sense of adventure?
I'll put on The Descent.
So what was that?
The Descent.
Oh, that was a good one.
We had Neil Marshall on the show number what, 2 years ago now probably, and
Mhm.
Neil Marshall directed one of my favorite horror movies in Dog Soldiers.
Mhm. Dog soldiers. Yep.
Yeah. Best werewolf movie ever made. Just saying.
Mm,
Just saying.
okay.
Absolutely. 100%.
Um,
You're going to say American Werewolf, but I have my arguments.
absolutely right. I am every
I
day
have
and
my
twice on
arguments.
Sunday.
Nope. Do you know what? We ran this for at least a year worth of shows with guests where we'd ask them which one was which or which one they thought was better. Dog Soldiers
Mhm.
came out on top. The,
I
if
just
if
trust me.
American
I
if
love dog soldiers. I especially love it because they did it with such a small budget, and to do that, you could tell. But to me, that's what made it work. But An American Werewolf in London was just great on every level. Not just it had comedic moments, it had the best werewolf transformation ever, and it just the storyline and everything. I mean, to me, it's uncomparable.
if it didn't have that transformation scene, that movie wouldn't have gone down nearly as well as it did.
I still think that's the scariest looking werewolf. When they had it walking down the street of London when it was trying to bite everybody, and in the alleyway, that is the scariest looking. As a matter of fact, there's a company I don't know where it's out of, but they make full scale props of that werewolf. I think it's like 1,400-1,500 bucks to buy one. But I always said to me when I make it one day, that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to buy for my house to show myself that I made it. It's going to be in my little theater room in the
See,
back. But I just absolutely love that movie and that transformation scene, everything about it. I
the,
mean, in
the
the in
trans-
the theater, in the
I'm not
theater
taking
when he
away
was
from the
meeting, remember?
transformation scene.
Well, remember the part of the theater where he was introducing him to the people he had just killed, and they were trying to help him decide how to kill himself so he could stop the bloodline and stuff like that. There were so many funny lines in that scene. It's such great acting. Griffin
Yeah.
Dunn and everything. I mean, they just were phenomenal.
Like, don't get me wrong, they were great, and Jenny Agutter is just Jenny Agutter, yeah.
It's a
But
preference thing, but I
the
love Dog
whole
Soldiers.
the whole third act of that movie is so rushed. From the minute he gets out of the hospital, they're she's practically in love with him, and he's in love with her, and I'm like, no, no. Um, then the whole Nazi werewolf thing, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was. I mean, it was fun to watch, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
See, there were parts of it I like. Yeah, if it wasn't for the transformation scene, I don't think that movie holds up as well as people remember it.
So, what's your favorite looking werewolf?
Ooh. See, I'm not a fan.
Howling?
No, no, I'm not a fan of four-legged werewolves.
Neither, neither, except that one.
Yeah. Um. See, dog soldiers, they're good, but they're too big.
Well, plus also they didn't stay on screen very long because they couldn't really move
Yeah, I know.
their
Yeah.
mouth or anything like that. It was just like a hood, so and a
Well, no, it's
bodysuit.
not. Yeah, like Neil had on the show. I'll send it to you. He actually goes and gets the head of one of the werewolves that he has in his house.
Oh, jeez.
Like they look great if you see them for seconds,
Exactly.
right? The Howling has a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Viking Wolf has a dog. I don't know if you've seen that one, have you?
I did see that one. I'm just trying to remember how it looked. I thought
It's a,
it looked
it,
pretty good. It was mostly CGI, but that was a fun movie.
that was a great movie. That
Yeah, I
has
enjoyed it.
that has probably the second best transformation scene in Werewolf.
Well, have you seen The Cursed?
Yes. Um, I seen it in the cinema when I was like 12. I haven't watched it since.
I did not like it that much when I first saw it because to me it didn't seem like a werewolf movie.
Yeah.
But then I went and did like you did with that one movie, and I rewatched it again not too long ago. And when I started listening to and understanding the mythology that they presented, I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was very well done.
Right. I'll take your advice. I'll give it a rewatch. It's Christina Ricci, isn't it?
I think it deserves it.
It's Wes Craven and Christina Ricci.
I don't think it's Wes Craven.
Isn't it Cursed? I thought Cursed was Wes Craven.
No, I don't think it's Wes Craven. I think you may be incorrect there. Hold on. I'm going to find out here. Where is it? The Cursed. Right here.
I am not wrong.
That's not. This was after Wes Craven passed.
No. Well, Cursed came out in 2004.
I I do not think so. If I could see in the dark here, I would tell you. But I don't think it's a Wes Craven movie. We're gonna have to put a little wager on that one. What's that?
Directed Wes Craven.
No way. I think. Oh no 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 no! You're thinking of Cursed, which to me
Yeah.
was one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen.
But what did you
That's the
say?
one at the end with the police get him or are facing off against him in the theater or in the studio or whatever it is, and the werewolf goes like this to the
Yeah.
police. Give me
Well,
a
what
break.
what
No no no.
what did you tell? What did you say?
This is The Cursed.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think I've seen that then.
Yeah, this is a. I won't say newer, but it's probably about 4 or 5 years ago or something. You're talking about the Wes Craven one, which I thought was an abomination.
Oh, yeah, I've been to watch this a few times.
I can't see watching it unless I'm really tanked.
No, the that one you just said, The Cursed.
Oh, The Cursed. You've seen it?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it. No, I have it there
Okay,
on a
yeah,
list of stuff to watch. It's on Netflix.
yeah. It used to be called. I think the original title of it originally was Eight Pieces of Silver or Eight for Silver or something like that, and then they changed it to The Curse when they put it on the theaters.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a better name.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but check that out.
I thought you said Cursed. I was like, no, that's definitely Wes Craven.
Oh no, no, yeah. Now that you mentioned it, when you said Christina Ricci, I should have caught that, but I didn't catch
Yeah,
it. So
yeah. No. Well, yeah, no. I'm quite big on. I'm. If I was to pick a subgenre of horror, I'm a creature feature fanatic. Like
werewolves are my all-time favorite. As a matter of fact, I've written a script called Lycanthrope, which is a werewolf film, and I came really close to being able to make it one day. Tom Savini was going to create an original werewolf for me and everything, but we just couldn't get the budget together, and it's gonna be at least $1 million film because of the special effects alone. The reason being is because one of the things I've always hated in werewolf movies is that you usually don't see the creature very much. Once you
yeah,
see the transformation and then the end, then you'll see him. In my film, you see him in his full glory in the first 5 minutes. And the creature itself is a major character in the film. So he's going to have to look spot on, amazing for the movie to work. So that's why I talked to Savini and a few other people. So I'm hoping one day we'll get the okay to make that because I really think that's going to be a genre changing film. I really believe that.
now, what I would say is obviously Tom's pushing on in years now. Probably the next best in the business is Jason Baker. I think
Possibly.
he works with Tom.
Mm-hmm.
He's just ridiculous. He does all the WWE masks and stuff as well. But like, just seeing his Instagram and some of the stuff he creates, is like, fuck me.
As a matter of fact, I think he's the one that I sat down with when we originally did this, and they gave me a budget for creating the not only creating the werewolf, but also doing all the kills in the movie. And they gave me a budget which was extremely reasonable. But it's just unfortunately, I can't pull that kind of weight when it comes to getting that kind of funding for it right now. But it's on my list. But I wrote that movie probably 20 years ago, and I've just been tweaking it ever since. And just it's my pet project. I just kind of tweak it and update it and get it ready. But one day, if I ever get the opportunity to make that, I really think that's going to change the face of the werewolf genre. I really believe.
Nice, nice. Now, what you need to do if that happens is cast me and have me as the first kill just for the crack.
Wouldn't that be cool?
I can't act to
Full
save my
circle.
life, but I'm pretty sure I could die on screen.
I'm pretty sure you could die on screen too.
Just pull me off screen and be like, there you go, bye bye.
We'll
Right.
have to make it work.
Before we finish up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw a couple of quick fire questions at you.
Go for it.
All right. Give me your top 5 all-time horror films.
Oh my God.
Don't have to be in order.
Okay, not in order. Across all the subgenres and everything. I mean, to me, I would have to say American Werewolf in London is up there for me. Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, what a movie! There's a remake of
Oh
that
my
coming
God.
out next year, isn't there?
I don't know. I mean,
Allegedly.
there's one called The Shape of Water that Guillermo del Toro did, which is basically the same story,
That can go in the
you know,
bin.
but it wasn't really a horror movie. It was more, I don't
That's
know.
a romance story.
It was more romance than anything else. Yeah, but the creature looked great. So
Yeah, well,
it was kind of cool.
it
Yeah.
is what it is.
But
Wasn't it?
then,
Doug Jones,
yeah, Dawn of the Dead, 2024 or
2004.
2004, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Love that. That's 3. One of the ones from my youth that I just loved was a movie called The Tingler, Vincent Price. Love that movie.
I don't know. I'd say I'd probably seen it, but I'd have to watch it again and then it wouldn't get me till I'm like half an hour in. I'd be like, oh, I have seen this
Yeah.
movie.
But then one of my other favorites, and the reason I say it's my favorite is because I could see it all. It's one of those ones that if I ever get deserted on a deserted island or something like that, I could see me having that on DVD, and that was Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun
I
of the Dead.
I
Genius.
absolutely love that movie. Every time I watch that movie, I catch something new, and that is just such a brilliant freaking movie.
Genius it is.
It
Genius.
really is. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, those guys are amazing.
So have you ever heard? So you know when Sean goes into work and Noodle answers the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know who he's on the phone to?
No.
He's on the phone to Ed.
With who?
Ed. So you know the guy that works with Sean, the young fella that's trying to buy weed.
Yeah.
He's buying it off Ed.
Get out.
Yeah.
Really? Because he said it's your dad, didn't he?
No, when he answers the phone, but you remember when he's actually talking on the phone and he's like, hang up the
Oh,
phone, you're in work.
I think you're right. You think you're
Yeah.
right. Well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's such a brilliant movie. It really is.
Edgar Wright done a stunning job with that.
Oh, he's one of my favorite directors. I mean, that and his latest one, Last Night in Soho.
I still
I mean,
haven't seen that. The lads pushed me to watch it, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. And then
It's
I went to
very,
watch
very
it once,
good.
and I was like, it's that is it's not Anna de Armas, it's the other one, isn't it?
Which one?
The other
Edgar
actress.
Wright?
No, Last Night in Soho.
Baby
the
Driver?
actress.
Oh, the actress?
It's not Anna de Armas, it's the other girl.
No, it's not.
I can't think of her name.
That's
I
not
know
that
who it
Anna
is.
Taylor-Joy, is it?
That's it. Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Okay.
Yeah, couldn't think of her name. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really enjoyable movie. But I love him as a director. Like if you ever saw Baby Driver, I know it's not a horror movie, but just the way the sequences that he does, even the beginning of the opening, I just think he's one of the best directors out there.
Ooh, now that's a bold call. That is a bold
It is.
call.
Yeah,
Quentin
but I
Tarantino's out there.
Quentin Tarantino is my favorite of all time.
Scorsese's out there.
Scorsese's great too. Tarantino's my favorite.
There's not a, he's the most eccentric director you'll ever see. And
But I love everything he's done.
doesn't make, I didn't like Hateful Eight or Jackie Brown actually.
I loved Hateful Eight. And I even loved the extended version they had on HBO, where it was like 4 hours long.
I don't know if I could do it. I watched it twice and I was like, I don't know if I could do this again.
He said he wants to make a horror movie. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, his last one is going to be a horror movie, apparently. Or sorry,
I
no,
hope
this
so.
this one, he was, what was it? The assistant is his next one. I think he said it was called, wasn't it? And then he said he wanted to do a horror one.
Well, it was supposed to be the assistant or the editor or something like that, but he called that one off. So we don't
He's
even
called
know what
off.
his 10th movie is going to be. But he said he wanted to do a horror movie. He was going to do Star Trek. I
Yeah.
can't imagine a Quentin Tarantino version of Star Trek.
No. What happened? Kirk's 80, then he's 12, and then he's 22.
I don't care. I just want to see him make a horror movie. That would be my bucket list thing. Have
That is it.
Tarantino's last movie be a horror
That's
movie.
game over. Yeah. You might as well
Mm-hmm.
just hand the man the Oscar now.
Oh yeah. Well, he did make what was it? Death Proof. That was part
That
of the
was,
Grindhouse thing with
I,
Robert
I like that.
Rodriguez. I did too, but
Yeah.
so I mean, it wasn't like he hasn't made horror. I mean, I guess you.
And,
I don't know
and
if you
it's got
can
Kurt
consider that
Russell.
horror though or not. I enjoyed
And,
that movie.
and it's got Kurt Russell. That's all you need.
That's all you need. Kurt Russell. That's it.
Yeah. Kurt Russell's in my favorite film. Yeah.
Which one's that?
Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah, the Pork Chop Express.
Yeah. Well, you tell him, Jack. Tell him the check's in the mail.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
So many people don't, but it's like, how can you not love that movie?
That's legitimately a mashup of every genre ever.
It is. It is.
Ever. Yeah. It's all in
Great
the
stuff.
reflexes, baby. Right. There was another one, as I said, remember I said that we asked American Werewolf or Dog Soldiers, right? One of the other ones we started and it just kind of drifted off because it was completely lopsided was Jurassic Park or Jaws.
Jurassic Park or Jaws?
Yeah.
Jaws, hands down,
All day. Yeah. This one, that's the
all
way it
day,
went.
all day.
So
I mean, I love
I,
everything about Jaws.
me and one of the lads I used to work with, we went around the office, right? This ensued for about 4 weeks, this debate and work, and I had everybody in on it. Which one did you go for? We were actually keeping notes as to which was. So when I eventually got finished with everyone in the office that we got a vote off, it finished like dead even. I was like,
Really?
damn. I was like, I thought Jaws was going to walk away with this.
I would have thought so too. I mean, Jurassic Park was great. Don't get me wrong, but Jaws was in a class all by itself.
Yeah. And
Now let me ask you this: there are certain movies that I don't think, even though I'm okay with remakes and reboots, there are certain movies
No,
I would never want to see remade. Jaws
I'm
being one of them.
yeah,
Okay?
absolutely. Don't ever touch it because you can't do a shark movie.
But let me ask you this: with the technology they had today, if you could do a version of Jaws that kept everything else in place, but you were able to change out the shark with a more realistic looking shark,
Nope.
I don't know. There's a
Nope.
video on YouTube where a guy did an experiment for Jaws the Revenge, and he took a whole scene of the shark chasing after this diver, and Jaws the Revenge was crap. He was just trying to show you how the experiment works, and they put in a realistic looking shark pursuing the guy, and that it changed the scope of that movie. I think if you put in a good looking realistic CGI shark, I think it could change Jaws. What makes
No.
Jaws to me so good isn't the shark. It's those characters and the lines and the dialogue and the way they interact and stuff. The shark
It's
is great, but it's because
the
of their
lack
story
of.
and everything else.
Yeah, it's the lack of the shark.
The lack of the shark, exactly. So if you changed out that shark and put in a realistic shark and made it more scary, made it more, like, something like that, I think, to me, I think I would love to see that. Not
No.
saying to replace the original, but I would love to see that like as an anniversary special one time, that they do something like that and just plug it in. That you
Oh,
might get a new audience that way.
unfortunately, you can't make a good shark movie. No one has been able
I
to
mean,
do it. Nobody
what?
has been able to do it. Make a good
Do what?
looking shark movie.
Yeah, you can. Did you see
I
The Shallows with Blake Lively?
I thought it was horrendous. The shark looked awful.
I thought it was a decent movie, but the shark looked amazing.
Oh,
The
I
shark
was
looked
I
great.
was the opposite. Her struggle was good. I thought the shark looked horrendous.
Oh, no, I thought the shark looked amazing. I really
Um,
did. And you need to go on YouTube and find that Jaws 4 footage just to look at it.
I'll find it.
There you go.
Um,
That's your homework for tonight.
but for me, yeah, it wouldn't be. Jaws is one of those movies that I'd never like to see. The Thing is also another one.
Yeah, no, I would never like to see the thing rebooted, but I would love to see a sequel. And to me, there's no reason why you can't have one.
Because Carpenter's a dickhead and he won't do it.
I know, but there's no reason you can't do one because at the end of the day, Kurt Russell and Keith David, they're frozen solid. They could be
Well,
dead and you bring them back to the base and you have a whole new cast of characters.
there was my next question, right? That's why I immediately went when you said about rebooting something. I was going to go right. Okay, so there's my next question: who survived, or who was the thing in the end?
That's a great question. And I know that they've asked John Carpenter that. And I think John Carpenter said that it was the other one, Keith David, I think, if I remember the conversation correctly.
I've heard interviews where he says it's one, and then he'll tell someone else it's the other one.
That could be, and he could be doing that on purpose.
There's no
You know,
defined answer, but if you had to pick one, which one was it?
if I had to pick one, I would say it was McCready.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
No, 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 no,
You don't think so?
no. There's just so in the whole build up to the scene of the ending when they're sitting around the fire. Obviously, you can see them breathing. Well, you can see Kurt Russell breathing, and you can see his breath rising because hot air rises,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you
Right.
watch Keith David breathing, his breath is dropping to the ground as if it's cold.
Really?
Yeah.
I
But
did not catch it. I'm going to have to
if
watch that.
go and watch the end of it, you'll see it. His breath doesn't go up like Kurt Russell's does.
Hmm.
And whether it's designed that way or wherever where they filmed it or it was dry ice or whatever they used.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's that. And then there's the fan theory of, the drink that he gives him
Yeah.
is actually petrol.
I've never heard that theory.
Yeah, there's a theory
Wow.
because the bottle is half full when you first see it, and
Right.
then it's full when he hands it to him. So they reckon McCready has filled it up with petrol because obviously the thing won't know any different. That's why he's laughing when he drinks it.
Hmm. But then if that's the case, why wouldn't McCready have just torched him right then and there
Because he
the
didn't
moment he
want it.
found out?
But there's no way of proving that it is. That's just a theory.
Yeah, but they already killed an innocent man anyway, remember?
That's true. That's true.
So what's one more? No witnesses.
Well, he's not going to get out of it anyway. The two of them knew they weren't getting out.
That's true. Well, at least he thought that maybe he could kill the thing and it won't go on to somebody else.
But
Did you see the
Carpenter needs
did
to
you
do a second one with Wyatt Russell as the main character,
wouldn't that be cool?
going down and finding them or something. Yeah.
I would love that. I would love to write that. Hell. But did you see the prequel? I
Yeah. So
enjoyed the prequel.
I had this thing with Ian. Ian said about it, and I remember going to see it in the cinema. Right, I went to see it with a girl in the cinema, and I was watching it, and I was getting so angry. I was like, they're fucking butchering the stupid fucking. I was getting really annoyed. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Stupid fucking remake, this, that, and the other." And then it gets to the scene, where he puts the axe in the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "God damn, it's not a remake." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "It's a prequel." Because remember, they never told anyone what it was. It was just, and it got to that point, and I was like, "God damn." And then I went to
and
see it
so
again,
many
and I was
things
like,
they
"Yeah,
and so many things they set up that you picked up from when they went back to the Norwegian camp in the first one, like the guy cutting his wrists and sitting there in the chair with the blood freezing as it's coming out of his wrists. All that stuff was put in place, but then the very end with the helicopter and chasing after the dog. Oh
so
man, I
good."
had goosebumps just thinking how cool that fit in. I just didn't understand why they just didn't name it something else. Why was it the thing again?
Yeah, the thing 2011. No,
Yeah, but I mean that's confusing. Why would you do that?
yeah, the thing. It should have been like the thing, how it began or something.
Or yeah, something just to change it. But now it's like if you make a sequel, you're going to have to name it the thing also, so you can kind of keep suit.
The thing.
The thing, right? Yeah, the thing squared or whatever.
Right. Um. So, Rick, I'm gonna wish
Yep.
you all the best for the film fest when it runs.
Thank you, brother.
Um. And we wish you every success, and hopefully, maybe one year we'll make it over to it.
Let's put it on our list.
Yeah, that's a long list, and it's only getting longer.
There you go. That's fine. Something to shoot for,
What happened? The list is getting longer, and the little money sign at the bottom just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but we'll sort something out.
Sounds
Um,
good, brother. It's been an
but
honor
yeah,
being here with you.
absolutely all the best with it. I'm sure you won't even need that. I'm sure it's going to go off and be an absolute smash. So
Thank you.
I am jealous you get to see all those premieres though. That's
Oh yeah.
that's got to be something. The
Oh
fetus
yeah.
looks unreal.
It does. Yeah, I can't wait. And he sent me a box of condoms to give away to the fans over there too. He's gonna have
I,
posters and
I
T-shirts and
I
everything.
have a box as well. Yeah, they're great.
Do you?
Yeah, he sent me a box. I brought them in and showed them to my missus. She's like, "Why? What's this from?" I was like, "It's from a movie that's coming out." And she's like, "Is it a
Oh,
horror movie?" And I was like, "Well, who else is going to be sending me stuff?"
speaking of that, just to end on this note here, I went several years ago to a thing called the New York City Horror Film Festival when one of my films was accepted into it. And back then they had one of your favorite films called Seed of Chucky, which was
Yeah.
playing there. I know. The guy asked me when I walked in, he goes, "Hey, would you like one of the promotional tools for a Seed of Chucky?" I said, "Sure." So he pulls out this roll and tears one off and hands it to me. And it was a condom. And on the condom on the front, it said Seed of Chucky. But when you flip it over, it says "Get a load of Chucky."
Is that the one with the school or the college girls in the house?
I don't think I even saw it.
Oh,
They
yeah,
just gave me that and I saved the condom. I still have it in my room.
nice, nice. Um, but yeah, as I said, best of luck with everything.
Thank you, brother.
I'll watch the movie you sent me, hopefully tomorrow or so, and I'll let you know what I think of it.
Okay. I appreciate that,
Um,
man.
and then maybe after the con, we'll get you back on and we'll have a chat on how it went.
That's great. We can get Amy on here too, and we'll do a little recap if you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. But what I'm going
Sounds
to do
great.
is, Rick, I'm going to leave it here the way I leave it every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.